Bim 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 bim. It's news at 10. Duh-duh. And we're doing the news headlines and looking at the news from the entire week. We're starting from the early parts of the week and we're going to today. It's that excited. Yes, so it's the news roundup of the week, available as a podcast and also available obviously live on the YouTube as and when I put it on. Hello Alan, welcome, belated happy birthday. It's Alan's birthday this week. We don't say how old he is, but put it this way, he remembers when decimalisation started. He just remembers the Queen when she was quite young. Who knew? Boris coming back into politics and stuff. Talking of politics and stuff, it's been a busy day today because first thing this morning I went out delivering leaflets for the election, standing as the local election with my thing that you can't see because that's green. Didn't think that one through, did I? And also we got all that as well, bump. So yeah, I've been shoving them through letterboxes. I've done 8 point something or other kilometres tonight in 3 hours, which I think is pretty good considering I've been posting leaflets and chatting to a few people as well. Alan's reckons he's 21. I reckon he's been 21 for more than 21 times. It's probably been 21 for more than 42 times, but I wouldn't say that because I'm not that bad. Who's bad? I'm bad. Now normally I do the main news and I pick 2 items to go through and we look at pictures and I talk about them. However, because I've been busy working and doing stuff, I've not done a main news of the week. And to be fair, looking at the book that I've wrote in, it's quite difficult to find anything that stands out as the news of the week thing. Hi T, by the way, hope you're good as well. So I will just go straight to the week's news at 10 weekly roundup. News at 10 weekly roundup. News at 10 weekly roundup. News at 10. Actually, I think Alan might like this, so we'll put this up because he's a strong advocate for. He's a strong advocate for what's the word I'm looking for? Electric cars. Yes, he is that person. There we go, this is my leaflet. He's not had one yet, so he's not seen this, although I've been delivering them. But here we go. I know what's written on the thingamabob because that's irrelevant. But here we go. Question the building of cycle lanes by removing regular traffic lanes and where appropriate make bus lanes. Alright, there you go. That can be used by bicycles, taxis and buses and even electric cars. Not that I believe that that is the future of transport, but that argument is for another day with world governments. But yeah, basically saying electric cars are a complete waste of time. Don't look at my dirty keyboard. What is wrong with you people? Do not look at my dirty keyboard. So yeah, leaflet will be coming through your door soonish. I can be arsed, to be fair. No, I'm not. I just wind you up. You do wind me up. I'm fuming. That's what old people do. Wind all their old people up. Still don't have my tea yet. I'm absolutely starving. Anyway, before we get on to the news, better shout out to Rollo, and the people Kim and not Kim. Is it Kim? I don't know. Kelly, and Steve LFC as well. Also Angela, obviously T, and Alan. Right then, shall we get cracking? So, we're in April, and the beginning of the week was Monday the 15th of April, and Biden, you know, the guy with the most intelligence in the world and the President of the United States of America, mocked the Iranian attack on Israel. I mean, come on, grow up. Trump makes history in court. He's the first criminal. It's the first criminal trial of a former president. He reckons it's political persecution and assault on the USA. Or maybe they're just trying to find out if he's a criminal or not. I mean, you know, that's probably more what they're actually doing. Liz Truss gives an interview to the BBC defending her premiership. Not only that, but before I came up here, breaking news, I went on to Sky, and they were talking. She was being interviewed there, and she was basically saying that none of the shit that she caused was her fault. I call bullshit on that one. Father of multiple stab murderer apologises for his son's action. This is in Australia. And also in Australia, there was a church stabbing. There was unrelated in any way, shape or form to the attack in the shopping centre, which we reported on last week. But thankfully no deaths were reported, although there were some serious injuries. That brings us to Tuesday. The UK passes a new law to ban cigarette sales for anyone born after 2009. That was 383 were for it, 67 were against it, and quite a few abstained as well. And to be fair, I actually agree with this. I'm not one for governments controlling people, as you know, if you watch this programme and you talk to me in my shop and you read the bit I write in the paper and my vlogs and everything else. I think the government and everyone is trying to control us too much. However, when it comes to public health, i.e. people dying, horrible deaths from lung cancer, then I think that is perfectly reasonable. Plus, it will reduce in the future the strain on the NHS, because obviously we need the beds to be free in the future for the people who've been vaping and have got lung cancer and various other lung-related issues going on. The number of people who tell me, oh, it's water vapour, it's only water vapour, it's only flavoured water vapour, with the vapes. No, it's oil and chemicals. There's no water in it. I mean, Jesus, some people. Anyway, Alan agrees with the control of our human rights to not kill ourselves using cigarettes. But I do as well. There are issues finding jurors in the Trump trial in New York. But they do hope that they'll be finding people, and it will be able to start on Monday of next week. Bear in mind, this is Tuesday the 16th we're talking about here. Rishi says Netanyahu must not overreact over Iran attack and show some restraints. Well, that went fucking well, didn't it? Police order an event in Brussels to stop. Basically, far right, I'm going to say extremists, but they're not, the politicians. Suella Braverman was there. What's he called? Nigel Farage and all that in Brussels. And the police come along and just shut the thing down. It's silencing free speech. Far right, Suella Farage and other European politicians all just having a meeting and talking about stuff that they want to talk about. We are absolutely screwed at the moment unless we stand up to these people. Not the far right, the police, for stopping people having discussions. Put Biden in the jury. Oh, that would be great, wouldn't it? I keep tripping over when I come in the box. I keep sitting on the chair wrong. What am I doing here? When's my tea coming? Yeah, that'd be good. Tragedy in Wigan. Wigan has had a bad week this week. I mean, last week we had the baby that was found literally down the road from me. The body of a baby, or the remains of a baby, and many people arrested and released on bail. And then over the weekend we had a house fire. A 45-year-old man died after rescuing his 4-year-old son from a fire. But sadly, the 4-year-old died on Tuesday from the Goose Green area of Wigan. Wednesday the 17th of April, more missile attacks on Ukraine. BBC say at least 50,000 Russians thought to have died so far. Kremlin not giving any figures out. But to be honest, when the Ukrainians basically pretty much slaughtered the regular soldiers, Russia just started piling in people from prisons who don't know anything about fighting wars, only know about murdering and raping people who are defenceless. So many of them have died as well. Well, to be fair, is not a bad thing. And then started sending in people just basically off the streets of Russia as well. So 50,000 probably is an understatement of how many Russians have died in this, but obviously the Kremlin is never going to say anything about it. The Scottish Government on Wednesday decided to ditch the signature Green policy. This whilst being in coalition with the Green Party, at least for now anyway. 75% cut in emissions by 2030 has been scrapped, but the zero net by 2050 has remained. SNP at the moment is just on absolute suicide mission, and I'll be honest with you, I won't be sorry to see them get destroyed. But good news, to a degree, inflation down to 3.2%, and the even better news is one of the factors that made it come down was the price of crumpets going down. So you can get cheaper crumpet now than you could, well, whenever it was when crumpet went up in value. I think it's all great. Thursday, the 18th of April, Peter Murrell, former SNP chief executive, is rearrested and charged with embezzlement of the funds raised by the SNP. If you remember last year, there was a luxury, allegedly, camper van thing taken off the drive of their parents' house. There being Nicola Sturgeon, who was the former leader of the SNP and therefore the former leader of the government of Scotland, who, if I remember rightly, resigned surprisingly not long before the SNP inquiry into the money started. And I said at the time, when she resigned, before we knew about all this alleged stuff going on, that it's obvious that there's something major about to come out. And lo and behold, her husband's been arrested and charged. 12 jurors were selected in the criminal Trump trial. This is on Thursday. However, they still need 6 more. Because this trial could go on for a while, they have to have 6 spares. Just in case any of the 12 drop out, and then they don't have to do a retrial. So you have 6 other people who are basically jurors but not on the jury unless people on the jury leave. So they're called spares. The one person I could think of that would probably do very well at that is former Prince Harry, because, well, let's be honest, he already knows he's a fucking spare. So he might as well be a spare that's actually useful by convicting criminals. If they are criminals, obviously. Friday the 19th. 19th. Israel may, or not, attack Iran in retaliation. But apparently neither sides want a war. I'm sorry. Israel at the moment is war hungry. They've started a war in the West Bank, even though that's not Gaza. They started a war in Gaza over the top. It's just an absolute, yeah. The IDF and Netanyahu, as far as I'm concerned, should be in Brussels facing war trials. Anyway, Nicola Sturgeon says it's incredibly difficult after her husband was charged. Oh, it's incredibly difficult. So it is like. She's actually from Newcastle, but she pretends she's from Scotland. A man sets himself on fire and is in critical condition. This is a conspiracy theorist, and this is outside the trial of Trump. And then the biggest news of the week by a margin. Forget the wars, forget Trump, forget everything else. Taylor Swift released a new album. 15 tracks. Apparently this is news. 16 tracks, sorry. Apparently this is news. And then the actual news is she released 15 more. So she's actually released 31 tracks, which I think is a key mistake. Because if she wants to get the entire top 40 as Taylor Swift, then why didn't she release 40 tracks? That's what I would have done if I was as big as Taylor Swift. But apparently she doesn't write her own songs. She just shags people, breaks up with them, tells her friends what went on, and they write the songs for her. Allegedly. I'm not gonna call someone who's worth more money than me. To be fair, with more money than economies of many countries around the world. Saturday, the 20th of April. That was yesterday. Don't tell anyone. US Congress passes a multi-billion-dollar aid package for Ukraine and a multi-billion-dollar package for... Oh, I couldn't name one of her songs. I couldn't either. We're talking about Taylor Swift here, I assume. Who else got the aid? Israel, because obviously they're desperate for the aid. Iran questions the weapons supposedly sent by Israel as children's toys. Basically, Iran was attacked by Israel in retaliation to being attacked by Iran, which was in retaliation for Israel attacking Iranian members of government and the military in Syria. So basically, as far as I'm concerned, Netanyahu and the IDF, they're entirely responsible for this. But, you know, I'm not allowed to say that. Although, hang on, let me just check. No, I'm not. I might have a... but I'm not. Wales U-turns over the 20-mile-an-hour speed limits after over 500,000 people sign a petition. Now, Wales last year come up with this really ridiculous idea of putting 20-mile-an-hour speed limits everywhere. I mean, it's almost as bad as the use of a Scottish guy doing the hate bill thing. I mean, it's absolute nonsense. You can't possibly monitor the entire country being 20 mile an hour. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, 500,000 people have signed a petition, so now the government in Wales is having a U-turn on many of the roads. I must admit, I've not driven in Wales since the petition came in. Not since the 20 mile an hour speed limit came in last year. But to be fair, I've been working, so I've not had a chance to go to Wales. It's not because of that. And that brings us up to today, which is Sunday. Mark Mendes has resigned from the Tories after allegedly misuse of party funds. Apparently, he rang up someone on his team and demanded £5,000 be paid into his bank account so he could pay bad people the £5,000 so he could be released because he was being held against his... I mean, the whole thing is absolute nonsense. I'm amazed, to be fair, I've not mentioned Angela Rayner, who's also allegedly a criminal as well. They're all the fucking same. Vote independent. Israeli PM says it's forbidden to put sanctions on the IDF, despite another 22 deaths in Gaza by the IDF of civilians in Rafa. Bearing in mind that Rafa is the place that Israel has basically forced everyone in Gaza to go to, and now they're doing strikes on Rafa. Ethnic cleansing, land grab, call it what you want. As far as I'm aware, as far as I'm concerned, Netanyahu and the IDF should all be in prison. And over 50,000 people ran in the London Marathon, which apparently is a new record. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't have thought 50,000 people running the marathon is a lot, considering it's in London and the population of London is about 6 million people, if not more. 50,000 is like a tiny little percentage of that. I'd be disappointed. I'd expect at least 250,000 people running marathon. Just make sure they don't run over any bridges over the Thames with the same foot tap things, because they could collapse the bridges with the thing that does the bridge collapsing when you do stuff. I don't know what it's called. But anyway, that was the week's news without any pictures. Like I said, there was nothing really that stood out as a main item of news. So that brings us to the next section, which is the world news as reported this week. And there's quite a bit of world news that's been reported this week. Some we've already kind of touched on a little bit. Not that I, endorse that kind of thing going on. But yeah, we've got some, whoops, wrong one. I got the wrong thing, there we go. So I'm not only talking about this, I'm editing as well. It's just, I'm amazed myself sometimes. Anyway, we start off with the sad news after the stabbing last Saturday in Australia of the innocent civilians by basically a madman. The victims were named. Just going around their normal business. Now, people have said that the guy who did it, who was shot and killed by a heroic police officer, lady police officer, was just targeting women. It was like he just had a thing against women. The gentleman, Faraz, who was also killed, was a security guard who actually tried to stop him, but sadly lost his own life. Meanwhile, Lord Cameron, I can't get over this Lord Cameron malarkey. I mean, come on, give a lordship to anyone these days. Has urged Israel to show restraint and not retaliate against Iran, warning the world is at its most dangerous for decades. Sadly, because Israel knows it can do whatever the it wants and no one will do anything about it because we're all scared of them for some reason. I've no idea why, but anyway, we are. They did retaliate. Up to 4 people injured in a suspected stabbing act at a church in Sydney West. The attack happened at Christ the Good Shepherd Church in Wakeley while the bishop was giving a service. I'd say horrific, but good news is that no one was seriously injured. Tesla is planning to lay off 10% of its workers after dismal first quarter sales, multiple news outlets have reported. Now, I've been going on for ages about electric cars. I even mentioned it in this thing. Electric cars are not the future. No, despite what Alan claims, they are not the future. As reported last week in Australia, they reported that second-hand electric car prices are now less than the equivalent petrol or diesel car prices. So a car from the same age, i.e. bought on the same day, for example, the electric cars lose more value than the petrol or diesel cars. The world has gone Minecraft crazy. Well, Australia has, unfortunately, Alan, yes. Don't forget, join in the chat if you want. You can agree or disagree with me. It's entirely up to you. I'm not saying I'm right about everything. I mean, I know I am, but I'm not saying that. Although I did. But I didn't mean to. But I am. Because I am. Anyway, you can disagree. We have had some very good discussions on here in the past with people. But yeah, everything about electric cars is fake news, to quote Donald Trump. I mean, for a start, just getting the batteries. Stop putting carpet emojis up, you fool, Alan Barton. The car batteries, just getting the metals and the chemicals to build the car batteries is ridiculously expensive and unenvironmentally friendly. Then you've got all the charging points. Then you've got the having to have charging points at your house at great expense to yourself. Then you've got to find the power to recharge all these cars when we all go electric. I mean, the whole thing is an absolute nonsense. And when the batteries run out, what do you do with them then? I mean, it's just absolute toss. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, 100%, it's got to be hydrogen. It's the only way forward. And it's not like a hydrogen bomb. People can say, oh, it's like a hydrogen bomb. No, it's not. Nothing like that. It's all to do with, well, look it up. It's the YouTube. It's all to do with water vapor and removing things and putting them in somewhere else and doing something else, and it creates heat, and that's the heat that you use to make the car go or something. I don't know. I say that, but I actually agree with this because our esteemed keynote speaker, I don't agree with that bit, former UK Prime Minister Right Honourable Boris Johnson praises Abu Dhabi for being a pioneer hub for green hydrogen innovation. Oh, we've put electric car up emojis now. Thank you, Alan. Reflecting on the fruitful partnership established between the United Arab Emirates and the UK, Boris highlighted the incredible success that they've got in experimenting and making hydrogen at affordable prices. As I've always said, if you give me a lump of crude oil and said to me, you've got to make a litre of petrol out of this crude oil, I couldn't do it, but if you're a scientist, you could probably do it, but it would cost you thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. But when you build somewhere like Stanlow Refinery or any other oil refinery that you could name around the world, that goes down to pence per litre. Hydrogen is exactly the same thing. What we need to do is work on the green hydrogen en masse, and then the price will come down. And I swear to God, I might not be here in 10, 15, 20 years time, but even if I'm not, just remember, I'm telling you, hydrogen, and I've always been telling you, hydrogen is the future for motorised and aerospace transport. Coles and Woolworths, the two biggest supermarkets in Australia, are facing a Senate inquiry as the government continues to probe allegations of price gouging. Now, price gouging is price fixing. So basically, like the oil companies did when Dallas was a thing, the TV show, the supermarkets, they reckon, have all agreed to put their prices up using the war in Ukraine, therefore the price of fuel around the world going up, and various other things to say, well, this is why the prices have gone up. But they're being absolutely hammered in Australia, and we should be doing this in the UK with Asda, Tesco, Sainsbury's, Morrison's, all of them. They should all be up in front of the House of Parliament, or those inquiry things that they do, and held to account for screwing people over when people have got no money because of rising prices of electricity, etc. And yeah, it's terrible. But at least Australia's trying to do something about it. An interim review of the voluntary supermarket code of conduct has already recommended instituting heavy fines. Yeah, because they're paying coins, won't they? That weigh a ton. New prostate cancer treatment underway. A cure for prostate cancer could be just years away after encouraging world first clinical trial in Brisbane. Doctors say the new treatment helps them target diseased cells more accurately with fewer side effects than regular treatments. The treatment uses targeted alpha therapy, where GPS-like tracking system allows the agent to target only prostate cancer cells, dropping a toxic payload of lead that releases radiation to kill the cancer. I mean, yeah, it's great, the cure you of prostate cancer, but then you get lead poisoning. I mean, neither of them are good. I know which one I'd sooner have, I'll be honest with you. I used to lick pencils when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure I'm immune to lead poisoning. Health warning for tourists. Aussies planning on travelling to Bali are urged to remain alert against dengue fever after a spike of cases amongst tourists. Australian health authorities have flagged an uptick in detected in people returning from the popular holiday destination in recent years. It's not exactly new news, but it's news anyway. Symptoms can include a sudden fever, headache, and chills, swollen glands, nausea, and vomiting. Now, to be fair, the majority of them I get if I have too much caffeine, which is why I don't do energy drinks, drink tea or coffee. I get the same from milk as well. It's not dengue fever, but anyway. Dozens of migrants rush past shocked California beachgoers after speedboat suddenly washes ashore in wild video. Dozens of migrants were caught on camera jumping off a speedboat that came ashore in California over the weekend and running into the nearby city in what locals are saying is becoming a regular occurrence. A video posted online shows the speedboat racing towards the shore, narrowly missing a nearby surfer, and almost as soon as it landed, the people on the boat legged it. I mean, they've got better technology than what the people coming from France have got, to be fair. We've got dingy dinghies. Trans woman who identifies as a vampire sexually assaulted a teen and is charged in death of a disabled man. A transgender woman who identifies as a vampire has been convicted of sexually assaulting a developmentally disabled girl while already under investigation for allegedly strangling a man. Possessed by a demon, Hana Hutchins, who goes by the name Sabrina, was convicted in Wisconsin last week on first-degree sexual assault by threatening the use of... I'm sorry, if you commit a crime, I mean, if you want to live as a woman, if you want to be transgender, feel free. Don't ram it down anyone else's throat. Maybe a bad choice of words there, but let's go with it. But whatever you do, not whatever you do, but if you commit a crime, you are charged and treated in the same way as you would be if you were you are the sexuality that you were born with, i.e. no criminals who are transgender, particularly men who are transgender into females, should ever be put in a female prison. They should always be put in a male prison because they were born male. That is the end of it. I've even put something similar in here. I can't remember what it was now. My little leaflet. Let's have a look. Oh, I know the difference between men and women, and that our borders are all but non-existent. So I'm covering everything there, aren't I? But yeah, it's absolute nonsense. At least they're calling him Adam, which to me is good because should be trialled as a man. Pilot fell out of experimental plane mid-flight and hit the tail, causing the crash that killed two. The pilot of an experimental amateur-built plane tumbled out of the aircraft mid-flight and hit the tail, causing the crash in rural Pennsylvania that killed him and his passenger. That was last year, or no, a couple of years ago. We did talk about it at the time. I think it was battery powered. I mean, it's like, battery power, and it's just absolute nonsense for aeroplanes. We were pushed into transition as teens. Now we're vindicated by studies showing kids grow out of it. A study which finds gender confused youth mostly grow out of it, and a ban on puberty blockers in England are both being hailed as vindication by detransitioners, people who have gone back to their birth sex after transitioning as teenagers. Detransitioners said that they were living evidence for a majority study in the Netherlands that found that people were basically confused when they're teenagers. We're all confused when we're teenagers. That's the whole point of being a teenager, if you're not confused. But then you get, as far as I'm concerned, sexual predators telling you that you're the wrong gender and you need to take stuff to stop you being the gender that you were born. And it's these people, the charities, the NHS, the private clinics, everyone who pushes transgender onto children should be in prison as paedophiles. Full stop. No messing. Full stop. They are worse than, well, they're the worst of humanity. They're taking advantage of a vulnerable person who's having a bit of confusion about what they are, and they are pushing them down a route which there's very little return from. And yeah, they should all be locked up. Or better still, even worse than that. It makes me so angry. A New Jersey toll collector with premonition called out of work before garbage truck crashed into her booth. Talk about a sixth sense. A New Jersey toll booth attendant escaped potential injury or worse after she called out of work sick. The same day, a garbage truck crashed into her toll plaza. And it was because she had a premonition. Jessica Daly, who works along the Garden State Parkway, was jolted awake on Friday morning with a bad gut feeling, like something bad was going to happen at work. So she rang in sick on this hunch. The problem is, she's obviously never watched Final Destination because, sorry love, death will find you. You can't run away from death. I think the best one out of that one, I've only really watched the first couple, but the best one for me was the first one, the girl with the permed hair who thought she was better than everyone else. And towards the end of the film, she's like, yeah, death won't get me. Turned around, walked, and got completely taken out by a bus. It was hilarious. NASA confirms mystery object that crashed through the roof of a Florida home. Oh, Matt. Hope as well. Both having a good weekend. I'm going to lie down, rest some more. Soon my Crohn's disease. Been bad all weekend. Keeping warm and dry. Films and trying to eat. Well, you just, yeah, relax the best you can, Matt. Your health is more important than well, anything else as far as you're concerned. You need to look after number one. So yeah, hopefully you get over it soon. And yeah, look after yourself. I mean, I'm not going to tie these two things together, but that does look like a solid piece of excrement. But anyway, NASA confirmed that a mysterious object that crashed through the roof of a Florida home was a chunk of space junk from equipment discarded at the International Space Station. The cylindrical object that tore through the home was subsequently taken to the Kennedy Space Center for analysis. Turned out it was a poop by one of the people on the spaceship. Obviously it's turned to rock going through the atmosphere. It was one of them, you know, them real solid ones that you get occasionally that are really strange to get out. Paris Hilton backs California bill to bring more transparency to youth treatment facilities. Paris Hilton joined California state lawmakers to push for legislation aimed at cracking down on the industry that cares for troubled teens by requiring more transparency from youth treatment facilities, or faculties if you're American. The bill, supported by the Hilton Hotel heiress and media personality, aims to pry open information on how short-term residential facilities are dealing with youth issues, and I think that is a good thing. Also, on an aside, the Hilton Hotel has been confirmed as the hotel that's running the hotel in Wigan Town Centre that's to be built on the site of the former Gallery Shopping Centre. So it's going to have on the side of the buses that pick you up from airports, Hilton Hotels, Miami, San Francisco, New York, London, Paris. Oh yeah, such nice places. The Bahamas. I can't think of it in Bahamas, but I've said Bahamas. Yeah. Sydney, Wigan. Yeah, right. That's got to work in it. Anyway, Paris Hilton has not been confirmed to opening it, but after that, I think she should be allowed to. The body of the fourth missing construction worker has been recovered from the Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse. The body of a fourth construction worker has been recovered from the site of the Baltimore's horrific Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse. Salvage teams located what they believe to be one of the missing construction vehicles that plunged into the water in the collapse last month. A body was discovered inside the car. The name of the person has not been disclosed. Yeah, Hilton in Wigan. Come on, keep up. Do you not watch Wigan Watch? Keep up. Keep up with Wigan Watch. Unbelievable. People don't keep up with the Wigan Watch. So I do Wigan Watch, so you can keep up with it. Biden praises this country for backing Ukraine, but uses a name from 30 years ago. President Biden on Monday praised Czechoslovakia for supporting Ukraine against Russia, referring to the country that hasn't existed since the end of 1992. I mean, what could possibly go wrong apart from having a madman, well, not a madman, a very poor man, yeah. Must admit that one. Oh, God, Alan, I'm so disappointed. Rus cinematographer Hana Hutchins' mother's life ruined after shooting death. The mother of late Rus cinematographer Hana Hutchins said her daughter's untimely death ruined my entire life. The emotional statement was among many delivered by friends and family before the Rust set armourer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed was sentenced to 18 months in prison for her role in the October the 21st, 2021 death of Hutchins. I mean, for a start, that's like, it's well over 2 years ago. It doesn't feel that long ago since the tragedy. Infectious diseases spread by rat urine seeps into New York City after a record high 2023. New York City officials issued a dire warning about the alarming rise of a disease spread by rat urine after a record high number of cases. Leptospirosis, spread by bacteria in the urine of infected Norway rats, can cause fever, chills, headache, muscle aches, vomiting and diarrhea, kidney or liver failure and meningitis. Nothing to worry about then. I think I soon have dengue fever, which to be fair has got many of those symptoms as well, but not the death bit, although technically it has. A New York High City schooler creates astonishingly accurate AI algorithm for 911 callers to get help that is actually needed. A Manhattan high schooler has designed an AI algorithm to help 911 callers get to the aid they actually need, which would in turn cut down on response times and eventually save cities millions. Pierce Wright, a soft-spoken 17-year-old junior at the Browning School in Manhattan, said it is an intricate model could assist emergency dispatchers. I mean, you know, I'm not one to criticise people for, you know, the way they look or anything. I mean, God knows, look at me. Jesus. But it's a bit like Luke Littler. 17, but he looks like he's about 42 and gone through 4 divorces. But he's got a nice, stiff award to hold. I mean, it'd make up for him never having a woman, I suppose. Take Alan Modd's status away. Why? Because he misses stuff. Oh, tough. That is cruel. But yeah, you're right, actually. Can't argue with that. So we will. There you go. He's no longer a moderator because he doesn't. That's it. Yep, job done. I feel bad now. I'll go. Go on, I'll make you moderator again, but don't let me down again, Alan. Right then. You're back on already. Keep up. Keep up. God, shakes. Boeing safety culture, manufacturing quality under fire as whistleblower claims he was told to shut up. Now, one whistleblower was found dead in his car, wasn't he, recently? Boeing safety culture and manufacturing quality both at the centre of a full-blown crisis following a January mid-air panel. Sorry, Alan's having a crisis going on. They've faced scrutiny in 2 separate hearings, Senate hearings. Boeing has been grappling with a safety crisis after the door plug panel blew off an Alaskan Airlines flight that took off from Portland, Oregon on January the 5th. I'm still wondering if that poor kid's got his t-shirt back yet, because it'd be freezing by now. It was January, Jesus. O.J. Simpson was chilling with drinks, or drinking beer, just 2 weeks before cancer death. O.J. Simpson was chilling with beer on his couch just 2 weeks before he died of cancer last week. He was awake, alert and chilling. He's on the couch drinking a beer and watching TV. I mean, what else can you do when you know you're about to die? I don't know. Just a horrendous thought. I mean, even if it is O.J. Simpson, it's a horrendous thought to know you might as well. I mean, I'd probably take up smoking, to be honest. I mean, what's it going to do to me? I'm going to die in 2 weeks. Might as well take up smoking. And I'm over. I was born before 2009, so technically I can buy them legally. Outrage as high school student is suspended by his genitals just for using the term illegal alien in class. A 16-year-old North Carolina high school student says he was suspended by his bollocks just for saying illegal alien whilst discussing words or word meaning in English class, possibly ruining his chances of landing a college sports scholarships. Christy McGee, a student at Central Davidson High School in Lexington, received a 3-day suspension after he used the term in an English class. I mean, I'm sorry, but there's a fucking song about that by Sting. I'm an alien, I'm a legal alien. Okay, legal alien, but still, I'm an Englishman in New York. Illegal alien, I mean, did they think he was picking on aliens? Actual aliens with spaceships, UFOs, that kind of thing? I mean, what is the world coming to when you can't use a simple term and, not be suspended? Homeowner, 81, only in America, yes, Alan. Homeowner, 81, who fatally shot innocent Uber driver, thought she was tied to a scammer threatening him for $12,000. An 81-year-old West Virginia man who allegedly fatally shot an innocent Uber driver after they were both scammed said he'd been warned that he and his family could be killed unless he paid $12,000. Yeah, guns, America, out, sort, now, thank you. Escaped circus elephant thunders down Montana City streets hours before the show. Our Montana City got the show of a lifetime when a show elephant broke free from her pen and tore down a busy street. Thrilling video shows the gentle giant thundering down Butts Harrison Avenue around noon, seemingly unbothered by the line of cars cautiously travelling in each direction. Viola, a 58-year-old elephant, escaped from her handlers when she was getting into a bath. I mean, you know what it's like to get a dog in a bath, and never try and get a cat in a bath. I've still got the scars on my arm, and it was 20 years ago. An elephant in a bath. Of course it's going to escape. But anyway, the good news is, unusually for the North America, technically Canada, it didn't get shot. They rescued it, and it ended up doing the show as normal. Not that I agree with animals being in circuses, but I mean, it's America and Canada, so what do you expect? They're a bit behind the times. White House teases vague new Iran sanctions over the Israel attack. The White House said that President Biden would impose new sanctions on Iran's missile and drone programs following Tehran's weekend attack. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan made a vague announcement about the penalties amid bipartisan pressure to take action and forcibly enact existing sanctions on the Islamic Republic. Yet there's no sanctions on Israel for destroying a building and killing people in a foreign country, namely Syria, that were Iranians. That's fine, but Iran cannot respond to that attack. And don't get me wrong, a bit like Hamas, I don't agree with what a lot of Iran does. But at the end of the day, what is the difference between defending Iran by Iranians, and defending Israel by Israelians even. Not Israels, what? See, keep saying it's all over the world. This is Australia. A teacher's strike is set to disrupt over 80 schools. And guess what it's over? Pay and working conditions. Who knew? Biden announces sanctions on Iran drones and steel without hitting lucrative oil income. President Biden, this is a day later, announced sanctions against Iranian steel and drone companies, as well as 16 individuals in response to last weekend's aerial attack by Tehran against Israel. After years of similar Iranian drones pummeling Ukraine and without clamping down on Iran's lucrative oil exports, leading Republicans and Democrats in Congress have asked Biden to consider going after them for that as well, because let's be honest, Iran is trying to defend itself. Not that I'm standing by Iran at all, but it's just the principle of the matter. Biden gets all uppity, but Iran gives drones to Russia, or sells drones to Russia, which are used against, well, basically used as war crime weapons against the Ukraine population by targeting residential homes, hospitals, infrastructure, power, water, that kind of thing. And they do call? No. What has Israel got over the entire planet? I tell you what, they'll never have anything over me. Anti-Semitic hate crime surges 45% in New York City so far this year. Well, why? Because the Americans are supporting them. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Biden should be in The Hague with war crimes against him as well for supporting Iran. End of. I'm not supporting Hamas, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Hamas are, they need to be destroyed, but not at the expense of innocent people and innocent children and innocent women and innocent men in Gaza, and certainly not at the expense of completely levelling the entire country. Biden confuses Israeli city with Rafa in Gaza in shocking gaffe. Don't move on Hafia. Yeah, brilliant. President Biden confused the Israeli port city of Hafia with the last refugee for civilians in the Gaza Strip, Rafa, in a stunning blunder. The 81-year-old president made the gaffe when asked in a one-on-one interview about his plan to win back pro-Palestinian voters in the wake of Israel's war against Hamas. I mean, yeah, he shouldn't even be allowed to be making his own decisions about what he's having for food. Never mind running fucking countries. O.J. Simpson has been cremated. There'll be no public memorial, according to the estate lawyer. O.J. Simpson's body was cremated on Wednesday, and there is no public memorial service planned for the former NFL star turned convicted felon who died last week at the age of 76. The Associated Press told the Associated Press he was present along with unspecified other people for the morning cremation at Palm Mortuary in downtown LA. See, this is a weird thing now. When you get to my age, you start thinking about, do I want to be buried or burn? And I think it's sooner be buried than burn. I don't know. But anyway. A woman calls 911 to report dealer for selling her bad meth. It's not what it was supposed to be. An alleged meth user landed herself behind bars when she called Indiana police to rat out her drug dealer, telling the cops the batch was not what it was supposed to be. Sarah Harris, she must have been on drugs or something to do this, dialed 911 twice to complain that she was supplied with bad baggie of methamphetamine, an arrest obtained by the smoking gun shows. So, you're addicted to drugs, you buy drugs, and then you ring the police to tell the police that your drug dealer sold you drugs that are not the drugs that you thought they were going to be. I mean, you know, I'd definitely say you've got to be on drugs to do something like that. Wells Fargo accused of sexual discrimination and being unapologetically sexist. Wells Fargo was accused of sex discrimination in a lawsuit by a bond saleswoman who said the fourth largest US bank denied pay and promotions available to men and tolerated an unapologetic sexist workplace. The complaint, filed on Friday in federal court in Chicago, is the latest in a long line of lawsuits against the big US banks with bias against women. And the way I look at all this is, if you're the best for the job, then you get the job. It doesn't matter about your race, your sexuality, your sex, anything. If you're the best person for the job, you get the job. It's simple. It's not rocket science. Mind you, you need someone to be good at that if they are getting a job as a rocket scientist. You don't want to get someone on being a rocket scientist just because they tick a box for some kind of, I don't know, wokeness. Oh yes, we've got to have a black transgender lesbian elf because we haven't got one of them, so they'll do, and we'll send them into the rocket specialist unit, even though they don't know anything about it, because we've got to tick these boxes of gender equality. No, I want someone who knows how to make fucking rockets, especially when I'm sitting on the top of the fucking thing. Anyway, the man who set himself on fire outside Trump, ID'd as Max Azzarello, a self-described investigative researcher. The man who lit himself on fire outside the Manhattan court during the former President Trump's hush money trial on Friday has been identified by police as Max Azzarello, a Florida man who describes himself online as an investigative researcher. Yeah, I still don't quite understand what the reasoning behind it was, but anyway. Biden teases tax hikes for everyone, saying Trump cuts will stay expired if re-elected. President Biden vowed that former President Donald Trump's 2017 tax cuts will be allowed to lapse next year if he's re-elected and will stay expired, which could mean high taxes for middle class and low income Americans. So basically, Trump cut taxes and Biden's saying that's cost us a lot, that's why services are going down, because we're not getting the tax revenue, so we're going to, when the time limit for those is gone, we're just going to put the taxes back to where they were before. So they're not raising them as such, they're just putting them back to where they were before. But anyway, we'll see. New York City teen stabbed to death by neighbour over parking spot. A 19-year-old Bronx man was stabbed to death by his neighbour over a parking spot. Dominic Cruz Allegra was inside his Morris Heights home when neighbour Vladimir Lopez German banged on his door demanding the teen move his car shortly before 8:30 a.m. The Dominic was, aged 19, was fatally stabbed during an argument on the doorstep of his own house. I mean, it's not a gun crime, but still, America, just sort yourselves out. What would recovery of Amelia Earhart's long-lost plane look like? Well, I'm not an expert on these things, but I would imagine it'd be just a pile of rubbish, because it's been down there for who knows how long. So yeah, it's not going to look like a Concorde or anything, is it? Let's be honest. So I'd just leave it there. Take pictures of it, make a 3D scan. You can recreate it with a 3D printer. Everyone will look at that and just leave it where it is. Assuming that is that you found it in the first place, which you probably haven't anyway. Fire breaks out at iconic Oregon hotel featured in The Shining. Here's Johnny. A fire broke out at a historic Oregon hotel that was used as the backdrop for the Stephen King-inspired horror movie, The Shining. Firefighters were called to the Timberlane Lodge on Mount Hood in Oregon after receiving reports of a fire inside the National Historic Landmark. Employees at the lodge discovered the blaze in the attic. We don't know how bad it is because that's the only notification I've got about it. Hopefully it's not too bad and it's got nothing to do with insurance claims. That's all I'm saying. A cow calf rejected by its mother becomes main gun store employee. At least as long as I can fit him in the car. You couldn't ask for a best cow worker. A gun store in Maine is drawing herds of customers after saving a rejected cow calf found cold and shivering in a muddy puddle in the woods. Cade's mum had rejected him, so he was shivering and cold and laying in some mud in the woods, and we found him, and me and my wife brought him to the house and warmed him up. I mean, they could warm him up even more, and he'd make a lovely stew. We warmed him up a bit much, so we ate him. Yeah, not wrong with that. New Jersey genealogy students prove rock in a boy's collection is actually the jawbone of a long-dead US Marine. It was jaw-dropping, yes. 20 years ago, a young Arizona boy picked up an unusual-looking rock for his collection. Rampol College genealogy students confirmed that it wasn't a rock at all, but a jawbone that once belonged to Captain Everett Leland Yeager, the US Marine who was killed during a training exercise. Isn't Yeager famous for... he is, isn't he? So how the hell did that... What? That's just weird, isn't it? Kids finding body parts lying around. Mind you, I've said it before. John Wayne Bobbitt reveals which is worse, having his penis cut off or his toes amputated. John Wayne Bobbitt had all of his toes amputated recently, but told the newspaper the loss is nowhere near as devastating as when his wife cut off his penis in 1993. Now that was trauma. Now I must admit, even though I'm single and nothing is used for anything these days, I think I'd sooner have my toes amputated than someone shot my knob off. But anyway, he was 26 years old when I lost my penis. I didn't even want to live when that happened until the doctor put it back on again. The toes aren't nearly as traumatic. I mean, I don't think we need an interview with someone to actually discuss that. I think that's pretty obvious. He actually became a bit of a porn star as well, didn't he? Because of the scar and everything. It was just weird. It was a very... And of all the names, I mean, Bobbitt, have your knob chopped off, it's just hilarious. I mean, it's not hilarious, but I mean, the name was. You know what I know what I mean. Anti-Israeli protesters who blocked Golden Gate Bridge for hours are released without charges. More than 24 anti-Israel protesters who snarled traffic on San Francisco's iconic Golden Gate Bridge were freed from jail because the city's top prosecutor doesn't have enough evidence to charge them. There's a video, there'll be police body cameras and stuff, so you can charge them. Don't get me wrong, I do support people who are standing up against Israel, but again, just do it in the legitimate ways, or with legitimate ways. Dad who told family to stick him in a dumper truck at funeral has his request come true. An ex-man who told his family to just stick him in a dumper truck after he died has had his final request come true. Dave Newton, 81, started joking that he wanted to have his coffin carried by the vehicle when he started pre-planning his funeral around 12 years ago. When he suddenly died on March the 20th, his family decided it was only fitting for his coffin to be carried to and from the service in a dumper truck. I think, you know what, that's genius. I do like that. I do like that. That's very good. And then they just put him in the foundations of the nearest building site. That'd be job done then, wouldn't it? Columbine High School principal recites victims' names every morning. The retired principal who survived the Columbine High School massacre 25 years ago still recites the names of the victims first thing every morning, and he says their memories give him a reason to keep going. Every morning before my feet hit the ground, the first thing I do is recite the names of the 13 victims. I've done this for the past 25 years. They give me a reason to do what I do, which is basically try and work on gun crime being sorted out in America, or gun laws being sorted out in America. Now this is sick. Survey finds over 50% of Americans like to eat where they sleep, and it's saying don't knock it until you try it. Many Americans don't have to go very far to go to sleep, after a late night snack. Nearly 44% of adults who snack late at night do so in bed, while 58% of 18 to 24-year-olds with the late night munches prefer to nibble in the sack. That's according to the survey of 1,000 Americans commissioned by Kellanova, formerly Kellogg Company, makers of Pringles, Rice Krispies treats and others. What? Who eats in bed? I mean, that is just sick. Beyond sick. That's just awful. Really bad. Bad form. Conspiracy theorist Max Arizello is dead after setting himself on fire across from the Trump trial in New York City. He's got a sign there saying Trump is with Biden and they're about to fascist coup us. Troubled conspiracy theorist Max died on Friday, hours after he set himself on fire in the Manhattan Park across the street from former President Donald Trump's hush money trial. The 37-year-old Florida man succumbed to severe burns he suffered following the sickening self-immolation inside Collect Pond Park. He also threw a stack of pamphlets which basically stated his reasons for doing what he was doing. He briefly worked for a New York Republican person, Tom Suzy. Once worked for Long Island Congressman Tom Suzy. Max Arizello worked on my campaign for Nassau County Executive in 2013 as part of the field staff. So not really high up, just one of the runners. Just like someone who posts the leaflets. The moment Swifties have been waiting for is finally here. Taylor Swift officially entered a brand new era with a huge surprise up her sleeve. That was the extra tracks I mentioned earlier. It was very exciting. Conspiracy theorist Max Arizello, who burned himself to death outside Trump trial, was an organ donor, and kidneys had already been transplanted to 2 patients. Now, if I was a sick individual, I would say, I mean, if you set yourself on fire, won't the kidneys be damaged? Tram accident at Universal Studios theme park leaves 15 injured, authorities say. A tram accident at Universal Studios Hollywood in Los Angeles injured 15 people, authorities and the company said. Los Angeles County Fire Department units were dispatched to the theme park. The department said in a social media post the victims were taken to area hospitals and minor injuries, so it's a non-story story. But interesting that the picture they've chosen shows how to wear a face mask, like COVID is still a thing, which it is, but isn't, kind of. A New York family celebrates 93rd birthday of tough cookie matriarch who survived being shot in the head in 2001. I mean, 93. I mean, it's a good age, but it's not like, you know, it's not like groundbreaking these days. But she got shot in the head in 2001 and survived. 2001, 93, so she'd be 69, 70. What? 4 generations gathered in Brooklyn to celebrate their 93-year-old matriarch, who's a tough cookie, who first got into New York by earning 15 cents for hanging curtains and survived getting shot in the face in a 2001 robbery. So well done, Annie Brown, for making it to such a spectacular age. I mean, that's something else, isn't it? That's really, really good. Especially if you've been shot in the face. Not anywhere else. In the face. I mean, what? You wouldn't want to mess with her, would you? I know I wouldn't. Anyway, that brings us on to the news that makes me go, or whatever. Very mixed bag, I'll be honest with you. British woman. Oh, hang on. Let's sort this out. Have these shrunk or something? I don't know what's going on here. But anyway. Sorry, just read it again. British women debate shaving arm hair, and many love floofy limbs. Now, is this arm hair or is it armpit hair? Not that I'm graced with many. I'm not a hairy person. But yeah, ditching the razor has been a frequent occurrence for women, as many have started to opt for a more natural and hairy look. Now, British women have got into a debate over shaving arm hair. I don't know why you'd shave arm hair in the first place, unless you like that wolf boy that we were talking about last week. Nostradamus predicted 2024 war as Iran's attack on Israel sparks World War III fears. Writing about potential war in 2024, the prophet, real name Michael de Nostradam, said, "Red adversary will become pale with fear, putting the great ocean in dread." Well, that's as clear as mud then, isn't it? Thank you, Nostradamus. Urgent Met Office weather warning as most of UK told to be prepared for power cuts. The Met Office has issued an urgent weather warning covering a massive chunk of the UK with fierce winds likely today and conditions possibly leading to power cuts for millions of Brits. Yeah, it didn't happen. Absolute nonsense. Rockstar has increased the price of its GTA Plus subscription service by up to 40%. I mean, talk about cashing in on people. I thought Rockstar was actually a decent company, but they just seem to be just taking the mickey now, like every other bloody company. It's not like they don't make enough money off GTA as it is. And GTA Plus, I wouldn't pay for that, even if you paid me to pay for it. Well, if you pay me enough to... No, I don't play enough to do it anyway. What's the worst job you've ever had? I was about being an intern at a whale... what's the word? Artificial insemination place. Well, this one bloke give up the job after day one. Yeah, okay. It's not sperm from a whale, sperm whale or other whales. This is actually fashion, apparently. So you walk around in your tighty whities covered in paint, because that's a cool look. Because we'll all be doing it in a couple of years' time. Oh, I've done that one. Playing off people. Another good one. Anyone know where this is? Asking for a friend. Full body massage, in brackets, including head, £30. Where's 01902? That's a big question. British English problems. When red light shows, wait here. So this is a young woman filmed. This is a video, it's a still from a video. And she is stood at the sign because the traffic lights for the road traffic is on red. And the camera points at her, points at the camera, which is just to the left of the arrow, right of the arrow, sorry. And then points back at her again, and she's just stood there, she's on her phone, she's waiting patiently. The lights change to green and she sets off walking as well. I mean, me. There are some people who shouldn't be allowed out on their own. It's not Deadpool 3, guys. It's only the third Deadpool movie. They've been filming the new Deadpool movie with Wolverine. But apparently it's not Deadpool 3. It's just the third... Wolverhampton, thank you, Alan. It's just the third. I've just got to nip out. I need a head massage. Although, to be fair, as I've said before, I don't really use it. So yeah, no, I'll leave that. But yeah, it's the third film, but it's not Deadpool 3. Because that makes perfect sense. A cop who worked with stalking victims is convicted of stalking. I mean, seriously, do they not look at these people before they take them on as police officers and just check that they're not fucking weirdos? Precious dad died after getting tattoo in makeshift garden shed studio. Ben Larry, 32, died after contracting a serious infection from tattoo work he had done on his leg in an unregistered garden shed. I mean, that's just horrendous, isn't it? I mean, it's bad enough people having tattoos. I think it just wrecks your body. You look great when you're, I don't know, 18, 19, 20, 21. You got a chest tattoo or your arms or whatever. But by the time you get to your 30s and your 40s, all your skin's gone flobby. You've put on loads of weight, and your tattoos look like shite. Goggle Street View teen branded legend for cheeky way he put the town on the map. A young man has been hailed as a legend after he caught on camera flashing his backside at a Google streetcar view, a Google Street View car in North Wales, town of Bethesda, joining a list of mooning pranksters. So he got his arse out, and yeah, well done to you, lad. You know, seriously, people got better things to do. I met bald humanoid aliens when I was 19. They said they were servants of God, says a madman. I mean, come on. It's not even worthy of saying anything else. Boffins create miracle vaccine that can protect humans against any virus. A team of University of California have found a new way to protect humanity from any virus after creating a miracle vaccine that could combat pretty much everything. Yeah. You're not sticking that needle in me. I never had the COVID jab. I'm not having that either. Heartbreak as boy 4 dies after being pulled from house fire by hero dad. Ethan Mason, the boy pulled out of a house fire which claimed the life of his father, has died in hospital after a series of surgeries and induced coma. This is the poor young lad who was killed in the house fire in Wigan. Liz Truss has say on Daily Star's lettuce, and says only London elite liked it. Britain's shortest serving PM showed she still fails to see the funny side of the stunt, which she branded pathetic and point scoring, despite the global mockery it caused. I mean, she's such a... She always looks like she's sucking a wasp. And why people voted for her, I have no idea. I mean, it was only Conservative members who voted for her, but still, what is wrong with you people? Jennifer Aniston injecting salmon sperm into her face to look younger. And this is the person who injected it in her face. Sadly, there was a bit of a backlash. A bit of a backwash. World dangerously close to nuclear disaster as Russian destroys power plant. Russia has destroyed a major power plant in Ukraine. As experts warn, the attacks could have severe consequences for the rest of the world. Yeah, war crime. But no one cares. Well, I do, but no one else does. Tribe kill all outsiders after creepy run-in with explorer who took penis images. A small island off the coast of India, home to a tribe that has lived in isolation for more than 30,000 years, and they may have a very good reason for remaining isolated. I don't think we should go anywhere near people who have been isolated. For a start, they could be the recreation of humanity if they haven't been killed off by like the common cold or something else. Met Office maps show -3 deep freeze as 2 major cities face snow tomorrow. Except, of course, it didn't happen because it's scaremongering. Astronomers find massive stellar black hole 33 times the size of Sun in our galaxy. The black hole, known as Gaia BH3, is 2,000 light years away and is the second closest black hole to Earth. It is 33 times the mass of the Sun and is the most massive stellar black hole in the Milky Way. But how can it be the mass of the Sun when the whole point of black holes is that mass is crushed into nothingness? So it's not the mass of the Sun, or if it is the mass of the Sun and the core is that big, then basically we're already in the black hole, we're already dead, and this is just kind of lost recreation. We're just imagining this. To think I imagined you lot. Jeez. Dramatic fire starts in historic building as pics show smoke billowing into the sky. The old stock exchange in Copenhagen, Denmark caught on fire. In dramatic images show flames ripping through one of the city's most historic buildings. And it had a tower on there which collapsed very similarly to the tower on the Notre Dame Cathedral a couple of years ago. Prince Harry officially cuts ties with Britain as he makes bold residence move. Prince Harry's officially changed his country of residence in the UK to the US as pressure mounts on the American government to release his visa records after he admitted to drug use in his memoirs. So technically, he's going to be a bloke without a country. He's going to be not only homeless, he's going to be nationless. Heck introduces UK first sausage rashers, and they cook in just 5 minutes. Heck's new protein-packed sausage rashers are gluten-free and have a delicious smoky flavour. They also cook in a fraction of the time of a regular sausage, making them perfect for a quick breakfast. And you know what? I've not seen them yet, but I'm going to be trying them. Good riddance, Harry. You can't say that. Oh yeah, you can, it's Harry. Carry on. Moments, Fly Dubai plane attempts to flee underwater runway after biblical floods. Dubai International Airport, the world's busiest for international travel, was hit by flash floods, causing chaos as planes waded through the torrents on the tarmac. Yeah, it was horrific. I mean, it's been raining everywhere, but in Dubai, it's been really, really bad. And you think Dubai's a desert. Dubai's making it rain with drones zapping clouds with electricity in the heatwave. Despite a recent deluge resulting in cancelled flights and closed roads, the average rainfall in the Emirates is just under 4 inches per year, compared to almost 35 in the UK. Yes, there will be a food cooking review about the Heck sausage things. I'll be doing, no doubt, a remake of the McDonald's breakfast sausage thing, sausage named McMuffin. Shannon Matthews' kidnapper dies 16 years after a mystery that rocked the UK. Basically, the pervert who held Shannon Matthews whilst her mother pleaded that her daughter had been kidnapped, but she knew exactly where she was, has died. And again, good riddance. I spent $7,500 on tattooing entire body. Men always ask to see my inked penis. Now, I'll be honest with you. If I saw that bloke, the last thing I would ask to see is his penis. But anyway, Mancunian Ray Hilton, 65. I spent 264 hours across 32 sessions getting inked on every inch of his skin, and even has tattoos designed on his private parts. However, I can see 2 inches there, excluding his face and his ears, that are not tattooed, and that is his nipples. Why do people never tattoo their nipples? I'd be more impressed if he just had tattooed nipples and nothing else. And like I said before about tattoos, they look shit when you get old, but to be fair, he's pretty buff for someone who's 65. So we'll give him that. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. The benefit of the doubt, sorry. I seriously can't believe it was 16 years ago, the Shannon case. Exactly. I must admit, yeah, she's going to be 30 now. Or 26 or something. It's ridiculous. New monkeypox strain has chilling pandemic potential, scientists fear. A new strain of monkeypox has been discovered in a small town on the Democratic Republic of Congo, with researchers warning it has pandemic potential and is causing for swift action. So just get Israel to bomb them, because that seems to be they're allowed to do that. Hello, Danny Lee Gaskell. Hope you're good as well. Hello. Robots are better than doctors at spotting eye problems as ChatGPT scores higher. Researchers pitted GPT-4, the latest version of the popular AI chatbot, ChatGPT, against medics to see which did best when asked to diagnose various eye problems. A bit frightening, but you know, go with it. NASA to splash billions on Starship Troopers defence in case Martian bugs invade. I mean, this has got to be April Fool's, hasn't it? Bring back the bugs and microbes from the red planet. Oh, bringing back bringing back bugs and microbes from the red planet as experts worried, and now they're calling for an Astro Biodefense Board to keep the critters from Mars at bay. But we haven't discovered life on Mars yet, so it's a bit premature, isn't it? I'm more worried about them drilling 14 miles into the Arctic Circle and then bringing bacteria up from there than I am about something coming back from Mars. Doy. Rats the size of cats square up to bin workers who are bitten and scratched. The GMB union claimed giant vermin are making it impossible for refuse and cleansing staff to carry out their duties, with some members having received emergency treatment after being bitten. And never corner a rat, unless of course it's a dirty rat. Talking of which, Putin tells Israel and Iran to cool it as they edge us to nuclear holocaust. Israel's fresh attack on Iran with a missile strike on Iranian airbase and a nuclear site near the city of Isfahan has us pushed closer to World War III, a defence expert warned, and Putin's telling them to calm it down. Putin, calm your fucking self down, you absolute war criminal. Experts say you should never drink a cup of tea past 2 p.m. for sleep reasons. Well, that's good because I never drink cups of tea at any time, so I should sleep like a fucking log. A sleep expert has warned Brits their love of tea is ruining their shut eye. The UK consumes 100 million cups of tea daily, but there is a time you should stop drinking it, and that's 2 p.m. But surely that depends what time you go to bed, because I normally go to bed about 1 o'clock. And most people I know go to bed about 11 o'clock, but that's 3 hours difference. So surely that means I'd be able to drink tea at 5 o'clock if I wished to, because it wouldn't affect my sleep. But I don't know, because I don't drink tea, so I don't care. A new pandemic expected as human-to-human bird flu of great concern to who? Not Doctor Who. The World Health Organization chief scientist Dr. Jeremy Farrar has claimed a new pandemic is expected after resurging cases of deadly human-to-human bird flu. Problem is, it makes all your feathers fall out. It's horrendous. Uri Geller says Peruvian mummies aren't aliens, as they're unlike the ones I saw. Right, yeah. I mean, Uri Geller, come on. Official netter. Ukraine must be eliminated as there'll never be peace, says Kremlin mouthpiece. A Russian mouthpiece has told Kremlin-backed news outlet that peace with Ukraine will never happen, and went one step further with this horrifying rhetoric. Ukraine must be eliminated. I mean, that seems reasonable, doesn't it? The world's just gone to shit. Biden forgets how to leave stage after claiming uncle was eaten by cannibals. Some commentators claim President Joe Biden looked confused after a clip surfaced of him seemingly forgetting how to walk off stage, with the blunder coming moments after he suggested his uncle was eaten by cannibals. So, was that Toto Coelho, or was your uncle Toto Coelho, or was your uncle a cannibal? Eaten by Toto Coelho. I eat cannibals. It's incredible. I eat cannibals. That one. Snow next week as maps show 3 centimetres per hour blast sweeping down to London. I call bullshit on that. I'm sorry. Stop it. Stop going on about it. China on warpath to invade Taiwan as NATO prepares for World War III ballistic missiles. China is on the march to war and will unleash a storm on Taiwan, a former US intelligence officer has warned, as the world braces for potential conflict. Are China that daft? Yeah. Devoted cat lovers admit to taking their beloved pets on day trips to the beach. What? A poll of cat owners revealed how many were so devoted to their feline friends that they've even taken them on a day out to the beach. Who takes a fucking cat on a day out? These people should not be allowed to have pets. That's just madness. I assume they have it on a leash or something similar because, yeah, to let it run on the beach and then try and catch a fucking cat on the fucking beach. Yeah, good luck with that. Moment flaming Russian jet falls out of the sky as pilot goes missing. A Russian bomber plane was filmed as it hurtled towards the ground after Ukraine claimed it was shot down by them, with a search underway for the missing pilot. No further news was heard about that. Mad Vlad's disguises tanks to look like sheds in bid to hide from UK drones. Being a tank crew is the most unpopular job in the Russian army, and now they are trying to hide themselves under sheds. It will not work, Kyiv officials have said, and rightly so, because this is. I mean, they used to do that in World War II, but you've got. I mean, there's a shed there with a massive turret sticking out of it, and there's a lot of exhaust fumes coming out the back. We can see it with our infrared. I mean, absolutely nonsense. Take silence to shop for your footfall will double. I'm not taking the cat to the shop. Time traveller experiences life in the year 6000s, and he says he's got a picture as proof. A time traveller, insane person, who claims to be from the year 6000 has shared a photo of a future city and says life is a utopia, but thinks he left a friend behind who can never return. Yeah, cuckoo, insane. And everyone knows you can't bring a photo through time because you have to travel naked through time. Has he never seen a Terminator movie? I mean, the guy's obviously off his fucking head. XL Gullies. See what they did there? XL Bullies, XL Gullies. Genius. Terrorise UK City as top-level boss Seagull swipes Greggs meals. They've upgraded from chips. Now the Seagulls want a Greggs. A beefy confrontational Seagull has been terrorising workers in Liverpool city centre trying to steal food, with one resident claiming the gull was as big as her dog. Yeah, dog's a chihuahua. But still, it's a pretty big gull. Or not. Bloke finds house filled with ornaments like alien playing sax and creepy dolls. Danny, the founder of the Lost Cause Explorer, said the items from the home had an off-kilter feel to them as he found dozens of weird and wonderful figurines. I must admit, if I walked into a bedroom, as they are on a bed, and I saw that, I would be very quickly walking out of the street, never mind the house. A mystery as Putin rounds up boffins behind missiles and accuses them of treason. Vladimir Putin is cracking down on dissenters and alleged treason acts as he sends one of Russia's leading hypersonic missile scientists to prison following a court case in St. Petersburg. I mean, you know, you couldn't write this, could you? Although someone did, obviously. But only because it happened, not because they wrote it. Met Office predicts summer washout after record-breaking year of rain. The Met Office long-range forecasting model has predicted how summer will shape up, and it's bad news, with a strong chance of wetter conditions than usual between now and August. Well, I like walking to work, but I don't like walking in the rain, and I've not walked regularly to work for getting on about a year now. Urgent Magnum ice cream recall over possible presence of metal and plastic. Renowned food brand Unilever has announced an immediate withdrawal of a popular frozen treat after discovering the potential of magnums containing ingredients unsafe for human consumption. I would have thought a Magnum was unsafe for human consumption with the amount of sugar in it. But then again, what do I know? And for me, more so because of the added milk in it, which makes me do the stuff that we were talking about earlier. NASA lash out at secretive China over hiding military projects in space. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson has warned the US need to up the stakes in their race to space as China is holding secretive military projects off planet and may control the moon. Sorry, I'm trying to make that more dramatic than it was, but it didn't really work. ISS crew find horror drug-resistant bacteria. Crew members aboard the International Space Station have uncovered a drug-resistant bacteria and have no clue how it got there, but did find it was stronger than bacteria at home. Therefore, they should all stay in space until we shove the ISS into a orbit that goes through the ozone layer, which will burn it up and kill them all and kill the virus. It's more the virus that we worry about, because if they fly back with the virus in them, they could wipe out the planet. I take you back to my early thing, although to be fair, it's not from underground, it's from space, so maybe that's not right. Time travel proof after man from 1921 woke up in 3906 and predicted iPads. A teacher who fell into a coma regained consciousness with memories of apparently living another man's life some 1985 years in his future, and a detailed prediction of the future. No, he had a dream after, and before he went into the coma, he watched that film, Blade Runner. Lush, if you don't know, they sell really smelly bath products. They have shops all over big cities and things like that. We should do with a Lush in Wigan. I think it would do really well, to be fair. But anyway, launches the 420 collection infused with cannabis product to soothe the mind. Lush has announced Magic, a collection of 4 brand new CBD based products to soothe the body and mind. They cheekily launched it yesterday to coincide with Cannabis Holiday. Yeah, I'm not sure that's good, because I imagine some people will try and smoke the thing because they're thick. Spooky abandoned Chernobyl in Ukraine, frozen in time but decaying since disaster. In 1986, a steam explosion caused a fire during a late night safety test, and the Chernobyl power plant was destroyed as toxic nuclear smoke engulfed the city. Thousands died and the area was left abandoned. And now we're surprised apparently that these abandoned buildings are deteriorating. I mean, who'd have thought you leave something abandoned and it deteriorate, it gets worse. Nature takes over it. Of course it does, you absolute fools. Anyway, that brings us to the exciting realm of breaking news at 10. So what's been happening whilst I've been chatting to you lot? Well, no one knows. Apparently, Romesh Ranganathan has done a toe curling first show on BBC Radio 2. Sadiq Khan worried. Change to voting rules will lose him London mayoral election. Well, yeah, he should lose the London mayoral election. Table manners. The table manners under threat from Gen Z, and why we shouldn't give them up. Okay, I don't really sit at a table, so it doesn't really bother me. Oldham's Manchester United owner runs London Marathon. The late Queen's Daimler, it's hardly breaking news, but had a bespoke tray to hold her handbag. Top physicist publishes evidence that we are living in a computer simulation. Right, okay. Tens of thousands march in Tenerife in tourism protest. They've had enough of the tourists, even though if it wasn't for tourists, they'd all be broke. Pierre Gasly explains quite scary pit stop moment at the Chinese Grand Prix. That's when one of his crew was run over or knocked over. Officer called for more robust policing at pro-Palestinian protests. As long as they're not saying we want Hamas, I don't see what the problem is. Mark Mendes quits Conservatives as Tories say conduct fell below standard. Yeah, somewhat. Victoria Beckham is 50. Does that make you feel old? Foreign Office tried to scupper Rwanda deportations, leaked papers show. Afghanistan interpreter told his British citizenship bars his family from coming over. And 2 Chinese helicopters crash in the Pacific Ocean, leaving 1 dead and others missing after a possible collision. What else is going on? Max Verstappen explains late cheapy concerns after worried radio call. All the roads in Rochdale set to be repaired this year. Wow, must be an election coming up. Sorry. Let's say sorry. Mick Jagger turns 80, and they're on about the Rolling Stones 15 greatest tracks. My favourite is Undercover of the Night, which is not their most popular, but I do like it. You can now shop for the official Team GB Olympic kits for Paris. Nah, you're alright. Well, thanks anyway. We've already done that one. Final Glastonbury tickets sell out in 22 minutes. Interactive map reveals Japanese knotweed hotspots in Lancashire. Yep, there's a lot of that stuff around. Early bedtimes are all the rage with young people, but are they feasible? No, they're just lazy bastards. King to attend royal ascot to honour Queen's memory. And then King William will be honouring King Charles's memory next year. So that is the news that's been broken during the show, or beyond the show, and before the show. Who knows? No one knows. And nobody knows where my show is going. Anyway, yeah, that is it. So we've had 34 views. Highest we've had is 9 concurrent views. Currently got 8 in. We've only got 4 likes, which is fair enough, I suppose. A big shout out to everyone who's been on tonight. So big shout out to Alan Barton, Matt Francis, Toff TV, Danny Lee Gaskill. That's it. Yeah, so yeah, thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. It might be another slightly rushed version next week as well, due to the fact that I've still got leaflets to post for the upcoming election. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. I'll be seeing you next time. Until then, bye. What's going on with my hair? Just noticed that I look like a really bad imitator of the Arctic Monkeys.